Patience, I'm so excited to be here with you today to talk about our book, The XX Edge, Unlocking Higher Returns and Lower Risk. Why did you want to write this book?
Thank you so much, Ruth. It's fun to be back recording something again. So as you know, my focus on investing in and through gender diverse teams started in 2008 after the subprime financial crisis when I was working as a principal investment officer in the financial markets group at the International Finance Corporation. I then really focused on building the business case for investing in women globally. But as you know, the data has gotten so much stronger compared to back in 2008. And so writing this book was really to bring the data into focus, especially for men in financial markets. Why did you want to write this book with me?
Well, my experience at the Tara Health Foundation, where we have 100% of an alignment in our investment portfolio around gender finance, we were seeing that we were outperforming the market, not in spite of being gender focused, but because we were gender focused. And the evidence was so compelling across all asset classes that when women are at the financial decision-making tables, you're going to have a stronger portfolio and less risk. And we knew that this was information that had to get out, and particularly that we had to make sure that men had the chance to learn, that women were living this, and particularly women in the finance industry knew this information really well, but that we needed to find a compelling way to share it with men. So that's why we wrote the book. But why don't you tell us a little bit about the evidence that we uncovered?
Yeah, so you know that in the early days when we're doing the research, we're afraid that we were going to have to cherry pick the data, but what we found was that the evidence is really clear across all asset classes that when you bring women into financial decision making rooms, that outcomes are better, all the way to new companies with at least one female founder. They outperform their peers by 63% percentage points. McKinsey in 2018 came out with a study called Delivering Through Diversity. And in that report, they also concluded that gender diverse teams were 21% more likely to deliver outperformance in profitability relative to peers. Even in the hardcore finance area of hedge funds, we know that women-run hedge funds outperform the average of larger hedge funds by a margin of about 6%. And this is a study that was done over a 6.5-year period. But it's one thing for us to say this is the data. One of the things that we wanted to do in this book was to isolate what it is exactly, what is the edge that women bring to the decision-making room that results in some of this outperformance. Could you share a little bit of what we found out, Ruth?
Absolutely. So certainly there's just a question of talent, that if women are representing a very small fraction of whether it's venture capitalists or CEOs or board directors, that if you bring more women into those positions, that you're going to get more talent. So there's just that basic understanding that you need to have a better pool of talent in the room. But also we know that women tend to be closer to the problems that need to be solved. And so if you are trying to come up with solutions for whether it's healthcare or education or the care economy or climate change, that women are the ones who are most impacted. So they're going to be the ones who are more likely to bring innovative solutions to the table. We also know that women tend to be more networked and have a more collaborative leadership style, which is also an important factor to bring into these rooms. And finally, this is a much more of an argument for diversity in general. When everybody sitting around the table making a decision looks exactly the same, they're going to miss stuff. They're going to not see around corners. They're going to not have the solutions that are often based on people's lived experiences. So basically, just diversifying a team is an essential part of having excellent financial performance. And this isn't just for gender diversity, but goes for racial diversity and any type of diversity. So in the book, Patience, we have some great examples of how this plays out. Can you tell us one of your favorites?
Absolutely. So one of my favorites is centered on Portugal, which provides an excellent example of applying the female characteristics of one of the characteristics that you mentioned, which is this collaborative leadership, but applying it to a nation's technological ambitions. So over the last 15 years, Portugal has been transforming itself from a technological standpoint, with many women in leadership roles. So their marquee program is called the Simplex program. And this has been a citizen-centric, multi-year bureaucratization of the government, based on the belief that government should be agile, public services should be accessible, they should be seamless, efficient, and regulations should be minimal. Simplex has essentially led to over 1,500 changes to improve the design and delivery of public services so that people can have a one-stop online portal to sign up for services that they need, and citizen kiosks that are located throughout the country. But the kicker, Ruth, is that this program has worked to really spur economic growth as more global companies, technology companies, have moved their operations to Portugal, and remote workforces have moved to Portugal to enjoy the incredible weather, but also this technological base. I know that you also have a favorite story, Ruth. Do you want to tell yours?
One of my favorites came out of India. So young women in New Delhi who were outraged by gender violence that was going on in their communities were able to harness an technology that we all take for granted now, which is based in our GPS tracking systems and our, whether it's the ability to download where there's an accident or a traffic stop or some other incident as you're driving that everybody can then take advantage of and redirect their routes. What they did is they used that technology to be able to track in real time where there was violence happening, whether there were incidents that they wanted to be able to share with their community, or there was a street light that was burnt out that was making it riskier for people walking home from work, or an abandoned building, or gangs were hanging out. And what they found very quickly is that everybody was safer, not just the women in the community. And this was such a successful technology, it's called Safety Pin, that governments got involved. It's been expanded to over 16 countries and 75 cities internationally. And I think this is a great example of how the people who are closest to the problems were in the position to be innovative and bring the best solutions to the table. And so these are some great examples, and the book is filled with many, many more that outline why these decisions are better when you have diverse teams.
Yeah, and inclusive solution building actually does build, much more resilient and lasting and inclusive solutions as well. And so to the talented people who will be listening to this recording, one of the things that you and I wanted to do was to really bring forth these stories to show that we can change the paradigm of women being beneficiaries to women being central to decision making, to problem solving. And as we wrap up this conversation, I just want to invite you to talk about what the folks who are listening to this can do.
First of all, we hope that people of all genders will buy the book and read the book. We really intended it for everybody, not just for people who describe themselves as women. And so that's number one. Number two is to appreciate how important it is to have diversity in your organizations, whether you're in business or in finance or voting for people to represent you at the school board or state or national level. That diversity actually is an extremely powerful tool for better solutions and more resilient economies. So that's another thing that you can do. And if you're interested in learning more about the book and about these programs that we're launching as based on the book, I hope you'll get in touch with us. Here's a QR code that you can download. You can email Robin Russell at the Tara Health Foundation and learn more about the work that we're doing.